Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. With me, as always, is the inventor of the infomercial and the original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Kevin, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me today, Seth. I'm here all the time, but it's really going to be fun today to have our guest Ari on. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, Ari is joining us from Fund&Grow. Since 2007, Fund&Grow has helped over 28,000 entrepreneurs and business owners across America get access to over $1.1 billion. That's billion with a B of business funding. Ari, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you and Fund&Grow get started?
So we were born actually out of a mortgage company. So back when the markets were crashing, 2006, 2007, we retooled and found that the business credit that we were getting for our clients at the time was actually more explosive and helpful than the mortgages that we were getting.
And when you were going through this period of uncertainty, did you initially lock in on any kind of sources for capital, or what was the process?
So yeah, that's a good question, because the mortgage companies that we were working with, the loan to value amounts required were dropping drastically. And so we had clients that were needing 20, 30, 40% more. And the clients we were working with at the time were business clients. So we were turning to other business sources, and we found that the credit cards, unsecured business credit cards, were giving out 50, 60, 100,000 in one line. And so in conjunction with the mortgage loan, in many cases, it was enough to fill the 10, 20, 30% stopgap money that was needed.
What inspired you to make the decision to pull the trigger and leave the mortgage company and solely focus on the business funding?
Well, what happened was the mortgage market and the company at the time, the entire thing was crashing. The entire market was crashing. And so what happened was that we retooled and took all of our people that worked at the mortgage company, and we created a new product. And that was how to get this business credit. And at the time, on one card alone, we could get 50, 70, 100,000. They were allowing us to ACH the money directly off the card as cash, and not even as a cash advance. It was really great. So we were able to get a lot of money for clients at that time. And so we realized that instead of charging them hourly, $1,500 an hour, which could take 10, 15, 20 hours per client, what we needed to do was create a package and a program and a membership. And we needed to make it easy for the client to onboard, get them the funding, and get them out into the market so that their business can expand.
So Ari, let me understand exactly how this works. So an entrepreneur, let's say he's got a restaurant. He needs some cash. He's got to buy some more equipment. COVID hurt, and he's changing a little direction. So when you talk about a credit card, in mortgage financing, you've got the security of the piece of real estate. In business financing, there's really no security. You're talking about, what do? Do they issue a credit card for 50,000, but are they securing the checking account, or what is the security in that process?
And that's the beautiful part, is that it's unsecured.
Okay.
So they're not securing it off of a property, off of a vehicle, off of a company asset. It's unsecured funding. and it's based off of you, the user, having good personal credit. So if you have good personal credit, you can easily get 50, 100, up to $250,000 of unsecured business credit cards. And we first want to start with a client with their personal credit, make sure they have a good personal credit score, which enables us to on the business side, be able to move forward and get them business. So what does it mean on the business side? It means using their tax ID number, using their EIN, their entity. And we will even help clients with that. And if they have the need for needing a day-to-day operational, company to operate in, we can set that up. But we also have to be very mindful of the way that the banks view the client. And so we want to make sure that they're set up in a way which will lead to maximum lendability.
So how does that work? Because you mentioned good personal credit. Does that mean what I do with you, does that mean it shows up, it affects my credit score, it shows up on my credit report? And does that mean, you mentioned unsecured, does that mean if, let's say, God forbid, the restaurant in Kevin's example defaulted, then is it the assets of the business they go after, or do they come after my house?
So as a small business owner, many people, they don't have a corporate or business credit score established. So what they do is the banks will look at your personal credit first. Now, they don't report the credit to the personal report, but they do want to make sure that the business owner has good credit, and the business credit is personally guaranteed. But that doesn't mean that they're going to report it to the credit report. So if the small business owner were to default on the credit for a matter of many months in a row, then it will appear on the personal credit. But the whole point in the business credit is that it doesn't appear on the personal credit, because when you're using your personal credit, it actually depresses your score. And so if you're using your personal credit for your business, then it puts you in a bad situation. You really want to be using business credit for your business. And so in the case where a client would default, it's actually unsecured. They're not able to come after the asset, the property, the vehicle, the business. In fact, let's say that you had a restaurant and you bought your ovens and a lot of your assets using unsecured credit. In the horrible situation that you're unable to make the payment, guess what stays intact? Your cash flow. They're not taking your assets. It's unsecured funding. It's the cream of the crop. And that's why they want to make sure that you do have good personal credit before handing it out.
So Ari, and I'm not sure if this is different or the same, but I've heard of people that can show they may not have the greatest personal credit, but they've got a business that's been in business for 24 months. It's showing steady cash flow, and they somehow pledge their checking account. Now, do you get involved in that kind of procedure? Am I saying it right, where they can get some lines of credit against their cash flow? But
yeah, that's merchant factoring. And
okay.
That's not something that we recommend, just due to the overall cost.
It's very expensive, isn't it?
It's crazy expensive. Yeah, the funding that we advocate that clients use is 0%. It actually has a 0% introductory period for anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. And that 0% aspect is really important. We want the business owner to be in the driver's seat. We don't want it to be recommending merchant factoring and other, super expensive. Now, are there times where that's useful? I mean, I've personally used a hard money loan in the past. So I'm not in any way bashing and telling people not to use, if they have access to that funding and it's going to work in their scenario because they don't have good personal credit and they're unable to leverage business credit, then that's fine. But also know that there's other ways that even if you don't have good personal credit, you can get that cleaned up. You can get that fixed. I personally had 32 derogatory items on my credit report from going through college. Not from going through college, but the whole college experience. And so what that led to was me becoming an expert in how to fix all of this and how to get it expunged and cleaned off your credit report. So it's totally possible. Not only have I done it, but many others have done it. We have countless clients that have come to us that with credit blemishes and then get hundreds of thousands in funding.
So as a business model for you help people get money. I guess, I don't know if you're taking a percentage of I'm trying to understand how you get compensated. But my second question there is, do you ever get involved with equity with some of these guys that need help? Because you see that there might be something you could help them with or bring value to the table? Because, that's, as for me as a shark, I get people that come to me looking for money and deals and this and help and whatever. Well, sometimes we end up forming a partnership or some kind of a relationship like that. I don't know if that works for you also or not.
So to answer your first question, the way that Fund&Grow is compensated is through a membership. Now, we used to charge by the hour and there was the pay as you go as a percentage. Many companies do that. They could charge 10, 12, 15%. But what we found was really it's kind of predatory in a sense. It's very expensive. And so what we've done is we've brought the price way down to it's a couple $1,000s for our 12-month membership, which generates up to $250,000 in funding. And if we were charging 9% on that, obviously, you're looking at, over $20,000. But the membership is, a couple $1,000s.
Gotcha.
And then how does that work? You mentioned getting derogatory items and the expertise you've built. Are you helping the business owner get organized, get items cleared up? How does that support work?
Exactly. And that's the point of the membership, is that and our webinar speaks very specifically on this. And we actually even bring up credit reports and go over it line by line to show people how many different things that they can do to their credit report. And we actually do it for the client as part of the membership, what it is that we're going to do to raise their scores so that when we apply, we're not walking uphill with a broken leg. We have everything 100% in line. And when we apply, we're just getting large approvals and the client can then expand their business.
What are some of the biggest mistakes business owners make when trying to get funding that you are obviously helping them fix?
They go after expensive funding because it's the easiest. It's the lenders that have the most expensive funding also have the salespeople that are willing to work with you the easiest. And some of the best, the more lucrative funding, the funding that's safer for the individual, the unsecured funding, is something that you have to work at a little bit. You do have to have good personal credit. Then you have to move forward and work on your business credit, which then can lead you all the way to corporate credit. Like the building that we use today, where we have 65 team members that come in every day, we bought using corporate credit. I didn't use my credit. It wasn't even on business credit. It's completely on corporate credit, unsecured, no recourse to me. If I don't pay it, they would never be coming after me personally, or even after any person that works for me. It's 100% in the business's name. And so we want to help clients not only use business credit, but work their way all the way up to using corporate funding, which is completely non-personally guaranteed.
So Ari, you mentioned you got a lot of clients, obviously. Are there any that stick out just as examples of some people that you've helped maybe provide some kind of a magical transformation for?
Yeah, we actually have a client who is also since become an affiliate of ours. His name is Nick Perry. And Nick talked about how when he first started with us, he was doing about $40,000 a month. And then he went through his first batch and he got a couple $100,000 in funding from us. And it propelled him up to around, in his own words, from 40,000 to 400,000. And we have his testimonial, his video testimonial of this, from 40,000 a month to 400,000 a month in revenue by being able to get access to 500,000 over his membership. He got up to 500,000 in funding from us and was able to leverage that and expand his business wildly. And then from that, he started introducing a lot of his clients to this process so that they can get access to this funding, because this is easy pocket money that's there, it's ready to be used, and you can add this to your arsenal even if you already have other forms of funding.
That's amazing. That's a 10x.
What type of business was he in?
10x, great.
Real estate, fix and flips, wholesaling.
Yep. Nice.
So that's a great example of what some of your business owner, 28,000 of them, have used the money for. And I love that story. 10x is obviously a huge return on investment. So you've helped over 28,000 entrepreneurs get funding for their business. What do you like best about what you're doing?
What I like best is putting people back in the driver's seat of their life, which is, if you think about it, from history, we're taught that 300 years ago, most people in America were business owners in a sense. They were traders or farmers. They directly represented their wares to the market. Not all, but many. And in today's world, 99% of everybody works for some big company. And with the pandemic and everything that's happened in the last couple of years, it's really shown people why they need to be more in the driver's seat of their life and not just at the whim of a big company. And I feel that what we're doing is we're on a mission to help people be able to take control of their finances, take control of their future. And Fund and Grow is very excited to do that. Our whole team is really motivated in this purpose of being able to help businesses grow and expand, especially now, which is it's a really hard economic time in many states.
Well, it's a great service that you offer. I wish it was around when I was a young entrepreneur, because back in the day, we could walk in a bank and get turned down by every bank for sure. But, when I was a young entrepreneur, these are very clever ways to help entrepreneurs grow their business. And there's many people listening to us right now that don't even realize somebody like you exists that can get them that loan just like that. So I hope we've got some listeners that are taking notes and maybe they want to be tracking you down here real soon.
There will be a link in the show notes. I know that Fund and Grow has provided a very special offer for our Sharkpreneur audience. So make sure to look for the link in your show notes. Ari, what's next? I mean, you're changing the world. What's next for you?
Well, for us, one of the things that we're working on next is expanding our corporate credit side of our program to be able to help more people get the non-recourse funding and, just be able to grow that side. Because the business credit is great. It's wonderful. It's like a cash infusion into a business, but the corporate credit is the next logical step for businesses that are going from small to medium. And they want to get access. They don't want to have the business owner having to sign, and for the credit. And so that's what a lot of business owners are now striving for, is this higher echelon form of funding, which corporate credit, which would never come back on you personally. And so that's what we're really working on expanding within Fund and Grow.
Your passion is obvious. Obviously, that's wonderful. The work that you are doing. Thank you. We know your time's incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for joining us. Anything else you want to share that we haven't thought to ask you yet?
Well, I would like to thank you guys for having me on. And I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, I got one more question that
Okay.
pops to mind. You mentioned Nick in his example going from $40,000 a month to $400,000 a month. Are there any minimums for this to work? I mean, obviously they have to be able to afford your membership, but is there hey, the business has to be doing at least X amount in revenue in order for this to be worthwhile?
So the minimums are that we want people that have good credit scores.
What is there, a FICO score you're looking for?
Yeah, it's a 700 or above score is really what we're looking for. However, there are many clients that come to us with their scores below that, and that's part of what the membership is about. We're not just a funding service where we take you where you're at. We take you where you're at, and we take you to the best of where you could be before we ever apply to the banks. Because otherwise, we're establishing you with a problem situation rather than first fixing all the little problem areas, then taking you to the bank. Because when we apply, we're applying for 4 or 5 of these loans at the exact same time, very rapidly. Then our negotiators follow up in the negotiation process. And from that, we're generating around 19 to 20 million. Last month, we actually did 21 million in funding for our clients. So that's the amount of funding that we generated for our total client pool just that month alone. And this month we're on par to do around the same. And we've noticed that over the last month, especially, the banks have really started to loosen up again on their lending, because they had definitely tightened up earlier in the year.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on all your success and all the good work you're doing. This has been Seth Greene with Kevin Harrington for Sharkpreneur and Ari Page of Fund and Grow. Ari, thanks again.
Thanks, Ari.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.